You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, have you ever had it happen that there's a committee for something that you only realize you should have joined when it's too late? Do you ever feel responsible for stuff that happens to other people that you know intellectually is not your fault, but then somehow you feel like it is your fault?
No, I don't.
I spent some time with a friend recently, and then a couple days after that, my friend got COVID. And even though I don't have COVID and nobody in this household has COVID, somehow I feel responsible because anytime anybody else gets sick, somehow I feel like it's my fault.
Well, I don't know. You're not exactly Typhoid Mary. I don't think you've ever gotten me sick.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, that's one. That's one in my favor.
That's a lot of years.
That's one.
I've lived through a lot of years with Turi without getting sick.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And then the other thing is, like, have you ever had one of those days where you just wake up and you just, I told you last week that I totally screwed up and forgot what day it was?
Yeah.
So my friend gave me, did I tell you my friend gave me a clock for like people with dementia?
No.
So this is the other thing I want to talk about. So on the one hand, it's a gift that's supposed to be really helpful and I'm supposed to really love it and appreciate it. On the other hand, this gift says you're losing your marbles. So I'm not sure. It's kind of like having somebody give you a diet book. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. If your friends who love you and want you to be functioning for as long as possible politely give you something that indicates that you're losing your marbles, should you be upset?
No.
No. Okay.
I have a calendar in every room.
She's asking.
I never know what day it is.
She's asking me, please, not to call it the Alzheimer's clock. But I feel like it's an Alzheimer's clock, and I feel like I'm counting down to the moment where I can't chew my food. That's how I feel.
What you need to do,
yeah,
is start taking these tests all over the internet.
No, I'm not taking any of those tests because
see, they make me, because I think I'm losing my mind all the time, because I probably am. And I probably don't have that much to lose at this point in my late life. But I take all these Alzheimer's tests and I pass them, and that makes me smug. Like, there's people a lot worse off than me who can't remember what they walked into the kitchen for or can't think of a $3 word.
Okay, all right. So I should not be concerned about the Alzheimer's clock, and I should stop calling it the Alzheimer's clock.
No,
and I should
it's
not.
It's a Turi clock.
Okay. Turi forgot what day it was and showed up at her doctor's appointment a day late. And then
yes, TCC, Turi calendar clock.
That's what we're going to call it now, TCC. And then the other problem that I'm having, which I may really need this Alzheimer's clock. I think the thing that is bothering me just flew right out of my head. Oh boy.
Uh-oh, time to take a test.
Yes, I need to take a test. What was the other thing? Oh, it's flown right out of my... Oh, this is a thing that happened. Just a separate thing that happened. I belong to this congregation, and it's the inheritor of like the stuff of 3 other congregations that all went under because everybody got old, and now we're getting old and we're hoping not to go under. So we built this fun little storefront. It's modern, it's pretty. But there are people who have like these memories of the old place, and they keep trying to foist stuff from the old place. And so somebody got the idea that they should hang up all this art that looks like it belongs in your grandmother's kitchen.
Oh, great.
And one day we walked in, and like this whole hallway full of, the only thing they haven't put up is needlepoint. That I have a feeling is coming next. It's like when people have religious art, and I'm sure this happens at every congregation ever under the sun. They're like, I have this beautiful statue of, fill in, Jesus, the Buddha, Moses on the mountain, whatever you got. Would you maybe like to have it? And you're too polite to say, no, I don't want your statue of Buddha, Jesus, Moses on the mountain. And so you stash it in a closet. Well, this committee went through the closet and just kind of clawed everything out of there and like stuck it on the wall. And half of the...
Do you have meetings?
Well, there was a committee, and I don't want to be too ugly and rude, but I don't think they listen to the podcast. Many of the people on the committee, let's put it this way, will not be regularly seeing these things, but I have a possible solution.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
My idea is to wear like a mask and a beret and break in, even though I have the code, break in the middle of the night and only take down the ugly art. That's my idea.
Okay, so here's my solution for you. I would go to the committee meeting in sparkles, all my glittery clothes on at once, and I would say, look, we have a problem attracting young people. So I would like to propose that we have a Hebrew rave. And here are little light sticks, and we can play all kinds of Israeli metal music and EDM and watch their faces. And then when they say no, then we say, can you at least take these ugly ass pictures now?
That might work.
Compromise. It's a compromise.
Yeah, there's a thought. But it's a separate committee. It was the art committee. I should have known. I should have joined just every freaking committee. I should have. And there's one person, and I won't say who because it's a very lovely person. And the person is active in the community, although not a regular attender of a lot of things in the community. But this person gets it into their head regularly that certain things have to be done around the building, whether this person is in the building ever or not. And then there'll be a committee meeting, and the committee will say, no, we'd rather not. And then this person will just keep showing up going, I'd like to bring up the subject of, I don't know, whirligig beanies. And everybody will say, we already talked about whirligig beanies. We decided against providing them for everybody. And the very next meeting, the person will be back saying, I'd like to introduce the subject of whirligig beanies. And it's a very nice person, but you just want to grab this person by the hair and go, that's enough with the whirligig beanies. This is what it is to live in a community. This is why I want to live on a mountain where there's nobody. And then I realized I'd be stuck on a mountain where there's nobody. But all of a sudden, your lifestyle's starting to look pretty good to me this week.
Well, here's your response to the whirligig beanies.
Yeah.
Great. They'll fit right in with our rave.
I think
light sticks and whirligig beanies.
Yeah.
And Israeli metal and EDM.
I wish it were whirligig beanies. It's not.
Yeah.
It's never anything that fun. There's always somebody.
That's why I don't do committees anymore.
I try
That's
not to.
why I live on the mountain.
I try not to do committees. I really do. But if you don't do the committee, you walk in and then there's everybody's grandmother's needlepoint up on the wall for you to look at. It's awful. It's breeding in the dark. Somewhere in a storage closet, we're going to get like 10 Commandments art, which is a thing I truly hate. And then after services the other day, one of our fellow congregants says, oh, my grandmother had a set of these prints and I have them in our house. I was thinking I'd drop them off at the synagogue. Like, no, you hate them too. We all hate them.
Mirror images.
We all hate them. We're stuck looking at them.
Well, here's how I feel about committees.
Yeah.
On the way home today,
yes,
from Flagstaff, where I had to go to Sam's Club,
yes,
because there's really nowhere to shop up here in the mountain. It just came to me that like in less than 2 years, I'm going to be entering into a new decade or century or whatever it is. I can't even tell because my Alzheimer's is getting in the way.
I'll get you a clock for that.
I'm gonna be one of those numbers that ends in 0. And so as I realized that, I also realized, well, that makes me entitled. Because now I'm not only old, but there might be a little bit of wisdom, a little hiding behind the.
But you're going to forget all about it on account of your mental deterioration.
No, because I keep taking those damn tests. But so my entitlement allows me to not have to interact with any people I do not like, or any people that annoy me, or any people that I think might annoy me, or any people that I think I might not like. So there.
Well, if you want to live that lifestyle, you're going to have to carry at least 2 and possibly 3 or 4 stuffed shopping bags that nobody can tell what the hell is in them.
Well, I like my husband a lot, and he lives here.
What does that have to do with it? What does that have to do with carrying 4 stuffed shopping bags?
Why am I going to be a bag lady?
That's what goes with, I don't have to talk to anybody. Oh, you don't have to be a bag lady. You just have to have 4 or 5 overstuffed shopping bags that you carry around with you. You may have a mansion full of horrible art from other people's grandmother's houses, but it's the shopping bags that keep people away from you.
No, because a lot of those people talk to everybody. When I lived in Chicago, I was a magnet. I was a magnet for the 147 express bus from downtown to Rogers Park at midnight, where the weirdest, smelliest people would sit next to me and try to start a discussion.
But you're not going to be smelly. Weird, yes. Smelly, no.
They're smelly. They're smelly. I'm not smelly.
That's what I just
But
said.
they talk to me. They talked to me. And there was this one guy once who just stared at me and got off at the same stop as me because I had to take a second bus. And that was scary. Then I started acting really weird and dancing and stuff. And then he stopped looking at me. So we're back to the rave thing. It works.
Okay. All right. Glitter rave thing. I'll just...
But yes, I'm actually too old to be annoyed. That's my gist of what I'm trying to say.
I don't think I'm ever gonna. You know how you'll know I'm dead when nothing can annoy me.
Well, you and I are a little bit different.
Yeah, that's how you'll know I'm dead. Put on my least favorite political personality and see if I wake up. And if I don't wake up screaming, then I'm actually done for. You can unplug me.
So my tombstone is going to read, "She blew things off." That's it.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that. But of course, you don't need a tombstone because you're going to be buried in a hole next to all the cats, just the way you did with your sister.
Actually,
I still get it. I cannot get over that. Like, we dumped her in the hole with the cats.
The child threatens us on a regular basis that she's going to sell both Frankie and I to Body World, which is really frightening, which is worse than being buried in the pet cemetery.
Yeah, that's not good. No, you don't do
No.
that. My kids just threaten me with, like, what kind of old age home they're going to put me in. With a lot of very proper old people who don't get any of my jokes, overlooking a golf course in the suburbs, but overlooking the alley, overlooking the golf course so that there's a dumpster that smells underneath it. And I'm going to have a roommate who watches Wheel of Fortune all day long, and there's going to be fluorescent lighting, and the person will not get any of my jokes. And this is what they've planned for me.
That's lovely.
Yeah, they've been spending years just fine-tuning it.
I already told Frankie we made a deal. I'm doing a Thelma and Louise. Take me up to the peak at 12,000 feet, put me in a car with insurance, and fly it off the side. And then he can get car insurance in addition to my life insurance.
See, this is interesting how much time we've been planning this. Theoretically, we should be calling some kind of helpline now.
Probably. Just go take an Alzheimer's test online.
I don't need to. I have a clock now. All is well. Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.